All right, everyone, welcome into the third round of the playoffs with the Daily Reflector's Fearless Football Forecast. I'm Jordan Anders. He's Ronnie Woodward. We're out here at South Central, back at South Central again this week, Ronnie, because South Central is the only Pitt County school we have left in the playoffs.
We'll be here until football's over.
Exactly. We'll be finding different spots around the. We got the football field behind us, press box right up here in front of us. We're finding all different kinds of angles and stuff to see this field from.
I like it.
The field will be quiet this week. Falcons have to go on the road. Excuse me. I'm under the weather here, as you can clearly tell. So I'm gonna try to power through this. Today is Tuesday afternoon, doing a day early this week for the Thanksgiving holiday. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. And also, real quick, shout out to D.H. Conley. Conley went on the road, lost at Eastern Guilford last week, but been handing out shout-outs to all the teams in the playoffs. So thanks to Nate Connor and the Vikings for a fun year to cover, and also for being really helpful with us. We really appreciate that. But the Falcons are the last team standing. Ronnie, last team in Pitt County in the third round for the first time in school history. And but man, this is a tall task this week that got a little bit of a wrench thrown into it on Monday afternoon with the news that they're going to Scotland County, by the way.
Throwing the team.
Yeah, exactly. Going to
number one seed Scotland County.
Going to Laurinburg to play top seed of Scotland County, and a team that features the number one rated running back recruit in the country, in Zamir White, who's committed to go play at Georgia. But the news broke on Monday that White tore his ACL in the second round against 71st, so he's not going to be available for the rest of the playoffs. Obviously, that starts with this Friday with the Falcons coming to town. And you and I were just talking before we started recording here. This was an interesting matchup anyway because of just the offensive explosiveness of both of these teams. But now that Scotland's number one guy, the guy who makes their offense go, now that he's gone, it throws a whole different wrench into this thing and what you feel like the Falcons' odds are. South Central obviously has their own explosive offense. I was here on Friday night when they played Knightdale, and Dexter McDuffie played really well, threw the ball really well, about as well as I've seen him throw the ball all year.
Okay.
And then also, made the plays on the ground. Nazir Monroe-Smith had a big game that I didn't even realize until I got back on Friday night because of how well McDuffie played throwing the ball around. Monroe-Smith had over 150 yards, if I remember correctly. And they are still rolling offensively. This is a tough task going on the road against a team that against the top-ranked team in 4A, the top seed in 4A. I definitely think this is going to be a close one on the Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. Kind of a weird week here with preparation and all that stuff, but I don't think the Falcons go on the road and get blown out by any stretch. I think this is a really competitive game, given the fact that you got to wonder what the situation is going to be with them running the ball in terms of Zamir White being out. So I'll get your thoughts a little bit before I make a pick here. But I think this is going to be a fun one, no doubt. I'm going to be there, so it hopefully will be fun to justify the trip.
I'll give some thoughts, make a pick, then throw it back to you, then we can wrap it up. I don't know. It's interesting. One thing, a couple things to touch on. Their quarterback, Scotland's quarterback, also has about 1,100 yards rushing. We've talked about it. The offensive line, even the backup running back has been okay at times. So it's not like Scotland is just this random team that has this one really good player. Don't get us wrong. Scotland's in this point every year in the playoffs. They're power. I know Rose went there 5 or 6 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago in the Eastern Finals, lost because they had some other stud quarterback, a running back. They churn out D1 talent. So this guy, White, obviously is really, really special. But it's not like South Central is going to go in and win easy by any means.
Right.
They're still going to stop the run. Just the interesting dynamic is I wonder this week, just with film and the way high school football kind of works, when they're watching film, they're probably watching Zamir White run for all these touchdowns, for all these yards. I think it totally changes the planning, the dynamic of this game. I think there's probably just a big unknown, at least from South Central's side going into it. It's going to be the same play. It's not like they're going to revamp their whole offense, I would think. But you're going to have a different player, and a player that, or two, or whatever they do to try to make up for that's a different type of player, maybe not as much as a game breaker. Again, we've talked about, I think the offensive line is going to be key. I think what South Central does in the front seven, their front defensive line, getting some push, getting to the quarterback and the running back is going to be key. Because with White, evidently, you could maybe do that and he's still going to make you miss.
Right.
So with White out of the picture and on the sideline, Can they get penetration? Can they disrupt the Scotland offense? Obviously, it's going to be a huge part of it. Could be a shootout. Could be low scoring. It's kind of just tough to tell. Again, not to just kind of pass the bill to some extent. But there's just a lot of question marks in this game because of what happened with that injury. That player was so good nationally. Holt Naylor's really good, maybe the best quarterback in the state. We know about him. This kid's one of the top handful of players in the entire country, not just North Carolina. So there's no underestimating what that does to change a game like this. That said, I think from South Central's side, I think maybe the mental dynamic that brings, that maybe that they knew they're big underdog, probably the season's going to end, that type of thing. Maybe this gives them a boost, a confidence factor, I guess is what I'm getting at, that hey, we're going to go there, we're going to go on the road, we're going to be underdogs, we're going to win this thing, and maybe that just kind of boosts them up. The other side is maybe it motivates Scotland County because people like me and you are talking about how they're not good because they lost their running back, and whoever this backup is rushed for 200 yards. So again, a lot at play in this matchup. To get to my prediction finally, I think the Falcons got a shot. There's no question if this injury wouldn't happen, I would have picked Scotland easily, and I think it looked like they were going to pencil a state championship team into the final round. I'm still going to take Scotland. Just, I don't know. They're the 1 seed, as we've talked about. I think the talent's still there. I think this makes it a much closer and competitive game. And I think South Central's going to have to score. I think they want it probably to be a shootout and to pass it, to hit big plays, to make it a 50, 60-point game. I mean, if you look at last week, Scotland County scored 63 in a blowout in the second round. South Central scored 64 in a blowout in the second round. So we kind of know what we're going to get regardless of this injury situation in this game. I just think the number 1 seed at home at this point in the playoffs, I've heard about what kind of place it is, what kind of atmosphere it is there. They're tough to beat. I like South Central. They're explosive for sure. Again, I think the Falcons probably got a little boost this week, got a confidence, momentum kind of edge into it going into Friday. I don't think they're going to be scared or anything, but I don't know. I'll take Scotland, take a close to win a close one and advance. I don't know if Scotland can win a state championship now. Maybe I think some of the other teams somewhere along the road could get them. But good for you. You're going to see a good game. Looks like Friday and a cool atmosphere, a classic kind of third-round Thanksgiving game. And I'm not thrilled about it, just like because some of my picks last week. I'll take Scotland to win and kind of just sit back and see what happens, I guess.
Right, and it's interesting you mentioned the underdog thing because I was out here on Monday and I brought that situation up to Andy too because obviously you look at the 1 and the 4. This is where it's supposed to be. Like these were the 1 and the 4 that they both have handled business like they were supposed to. But you look at a team like Scotland with the kind of championship pedigree and against a South Central team that's never been to this point, and I kind of broached the idea of that underdog mentality to Andy too, and credit to him, he wasn't buying it at all. He wasn't having it at all. He basically said, this is a team that knows that it's supposed to be here. They've done everything short of winning a conference championship. They didn't accomplish that goal, but outside of that, they've done everything that they wanted to do and set out to do to get to this point. And so I think they're going to roll up in there. Zamir White. I don't think they're going to be intimidated at all. I do agree with you that I think it favors South Central more if it's a shootout. And I do believe that's how it's going to be. I believe there's still a bunch of weapons, and for Scotland County and talking to some people who've seen them play said that their offensive line it doesn't really matter who's behind it, that they're good enough to where they're going to produce yards and produce points. I'm kind of up in the air here as to who I want to pick in this game. I know you took Scotland. I'll take a flyer and take the Falcons on the road.
All right.
In a game that, I like I said, I brought up the underdog mentality with Andy too. He wasn't really buying it, but you got to believe that at least we're talking about it. Anybody else who's looking at this game is probably going to be talking about a Scotland team that you expected to be here against a South Central team that you really didn't expect to be here, at least not before the season, based on the way that things have gone the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But I think the Falcons are confident, man. They played really well on Friday night. Had a couple of defensive slip-ups. They had a touchdown or a kickoff return that went for a touchdown. But they're playing well and they're confident, man. And I think they're riding this train of being at this point that no team in the history of this school has ever done. So I think they go on the road and pull a little bit of a shocker. I guarantee you, Andy too will tell you it won't be a shocker for them if they win. But I think for anybody outside of here, it definitely will be. But I think the Falcons can go on the road and get it done. So it should be fun.
I like
it.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Like I said, I think it can go either way too. I'm gonna go with the favorite in some ways, I guess.
All right. Well, it should be fun. Hopefully, it will be a little warmer than it was last Friday night. Andy too was laughing at me out here on the field because I was shaking as I was trying to interview him. But regardless, I'll be there. I'll have updates on Twitter at Reflector Jordan. He's on Twitter at Ronnie W11 if you want to follow him for other more ECU related stuff.
Yep. I'll be cooking a Thanksgiving turkey on Friday.
Nice.
A day late.
So
if you want to see how that goes, check me out.
Good deal. I'll have Thanksgiving wrapped up for work purposes and be en route to Laurinburg on Friday. Looking forward to it, like you heard a lot about it. And how the atmosphere is there, so should be a lot of fun. I'll have updates on Twitter. My story will be at reflector.com and in Saturday's print edition of the paper. And if the Falcons do pull it off, like I picked them to do, we'll break down. It'll be either Heritage or Hoggard next week. They're the two teams on the other side of the bracket. If not, this will be the last edition of the forecast for the season. But maybe if the Falcons do win, we'll see you guys next week. If it's not, thank you guys for watching all season long. We've had a lot of fun going around and going to all the schools and doing this thing. And so it should be a fun Friday night of football. Enjoy Thanksgiving, and we'll catch you guys later.